Oh, hey guys, welcome to our call today. Thanks for showing up during the day. We have a guest speaker I'm really excited about. So let me tell you a little bit about her, and I'm going to let her just take over. So this is Colleen Curtice, and Colleen is an 8-star diamond qualifying elite coach. So she's a Success Club 10 legend. She is number 90 in the company, you guys, out of, I don't even know, 400 and something thousand coaches. And she's an organizational leader on the leadership ladder. And she's running a handful of business centers on top of all of that. So she has some great stuff to share with you guys today. And then I assume, if you don't mind, they can pop questions in the chat. So if you guys have questions as she's talking, just put them in the chat and she'll get back to you when she's done. All right, so I'm going to unmute you now.
I already did.
Oh, sweet. Okay. I'm going to mute myself now.
No worries. Hey guys, so I have actually, the topic that I'm going to be speaking on today is mastering your mindset. And I've been speaking on this topic now for over 2 years. I've spoke on mastering your mindset over 120 times now, between team calls, Super Saturdays, and, you know, I call them Dr. Phil phone calls. When a coach will call me and they're having a freak out moment, I call those the Dr. Phil calls. And so I really have been through so many ups and downs in my life. I'm actually going to share with you guys a little bit about my background story so you can know where I've come from. Because I always feel that when we hear someone speak about all the things that they've changed and how they've done it, a lot of people tend to think, oh, well, it's easy for them. You know, Lindsay can do this, Colleen can do this. You know, all the coaches that you look up to, you probably think that it's just easy for them. And I kind of became obsessed with the idea of studying successful people and finding out what they had that was so unique and so special and why they kept continually seeing success. So I'll start with my story at first, and then we'll dive right into the topic. My allergies are really bad right now, so I'll probably be like sniffling and clearing my throat a lot, but such is life. So I'm 30 years old. Going to be 31 in August. I originally grew up on the East Coast, and I now live 3,000 miles away from there. I live in Northern California in Lake Tahoe. So I've had a pretty drastic lifestyle change. I did grow up in the Boston area. I don't know if anyone's from the East Coast, but it's such an interesting experience to meet people from different areas of the country, because my perspective, and this is the word you're going to hear me use a lot, is perspective. My perspective in my world was so different when I lived there. It was, you go to school, you get good grades, then you get a corporate job, and then you have a salary, and then you go to work 60 hours a week, and then you buy a house, and then you have kids, and then you just get old, and then that's life. And I never had any other perspective other than that. I never thought like, oh, maybe I could possibly start my own business. Maybe I should travel the world. And so when I moved out here, it was like the 27 years of everything that I had known completely flip-flopped. I love the East Coast. Actually, 99% of my team is from the East Coast. I think their work ethic is awesome. But the part that I love combining the two cultures together that I've learned is that people out here, they just dream so big and they want to do different things. Like my entire town where I live is all entrepreneurs. All my friends, they all work from home. And it was just so different for me. And I didn't know how to apply what I was learning to this business specifically, because all I had known was go to school, pass in your homework, show up at work, and then you go home. So becoming a coach was really, really unique for me. And when I did move out here, I actually transferred my corporate job. I worked for Verizon Wireless for about 6 years. And when I moved out here, I ended up working for a terrible boss, the type of boss where for a year and a half, I was literally losing my life in terms of I was depressed, I was unhealthy, my confidence was down, my relationship was suffering. I was partying, I was putting myself into debt. Like I was in a really dark, deep place because I was so unhappy, but I wasn't even aware with how unhappy I was. So a blessing in disguise came my way, and that terrible boss became even more terrible, and she transferred me to a store that was closing. So not only was I in the hardest place of my life, I lost my job, my corporate career of 6 years, just because this chick didn't like me. So I'll never forget that feeling of sitting in my car being like, what the heck am I going to do? And in this moment, before personal development, before coaching, I was living in that victim mentality of this is happening to me. Now, everything that I experience, all my obstacles and challenges, which we'll get into later, I now see it as an opportunity for me to be the victor. And that's like kind of the entire talk today is going to be teaching you how to be the victor in difficult situations so that you can kick ass at life and business. I am so driven to help people see their potential because we all have the challenges and we all have fears. You just have to have that perspective that when the obstacle and challenge comes your way, that's the universe poking back at you saying, hey, Lindsay, you told me you wanted this really bad and you need this for your family. I think Beachbody coaching is beyond health and fitness and beyond just earning an income. It encompasses everything in life that we want to be thriving in. Finances, health, fitness, your mental state, your emotional state, all of that. So, but I always try not to get into the call because I get excited. But to be honest, guys, the challenges that were placed in front of me back then before becoming a coach felt like my life was ending. I lost my job. I was 3,000 miles away from my family. My boyfriend and I were going through tough changes, and I was like, what am I going to do? And from that moment on, I decided that I was never going to go back to a job that would be in control of me like that, because it literally ripped the rug from out underneath me without me expecting it. I had no backup plan. There was no reason that should have happened. And it's crazy because we hear those stories all the time about people losing their jobs, and I can't believe that that actually happened to me. So I don't know how many of you still work full time, and this has happened many times on my team in the last 3 years, where people have these very successful jobs, and then they're like, oh my God, I lost my job today. And so sometimes we get so tunnel vision that we're forgetting about this other world that we could be experiencing on the outside. And for me, after losing that job, I wasn't going back. And so ironically enough, a lot of you probably signed up from maybe seeing someone post on social media. And for me, that's exactly what happened. My coach is Elizabeth Hartkey. I don't know if you guys know her. She is an amazing coach. If you don't follow her, you should. She was actually in the Super Saturday video sharing her story a few Super Saturdays ago. But I joined her team not because she talked about her finances, not because she just talked about her fitness transformation. I joined her team because she was sharing pictures of her, which is why like selfies and photos of you. Full photos of you are so important because when you look at someone and they are happy and they are thriving and they are putting really positive vibes out there, don't you just stop and say, dang, that's where I want to be in life. And that's exactly what I did. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, we went to high school together and she had a serious transformation from head to toe, mental, financial. She also left the corporate world. I was like, I think I really want to do this. And I signed up, guys, and I never looked back. People always ask me, how did you see success so fast? On a scale of 1 to 10, I was a 20. Because if you really just kind of tiptoe and dip your toes into this business, it does not reward you like we wish. So I always tell people, even if you aren't sure if you're going to be a Beachbody lifer, just go for it. Because then it's going to reward you and you're going to see the potential. So that's a little bit about my story and how I got started as a coach, a little bit about where I've come from. But to kind of start talking about this topic, so when I was a new coach, almost 3 years ago, it'll be in July, my anniversary, we didn't have trainings. We didn't do Zoom calls. We didn't have the things you guys have now. And yes, that is my cue to you that everything is in your lap right now. And you have to take responsibility and apply the things that we're teaching in the trainings. But I became obsessed with the question, everyone pretty much has the same access to the same trainings. So why aren't more people successful? And this is a real good self-reflection, gut check question. And I'm a tough love kind of coach, if you haven't noticed, but you just have to get real with yourself and say, I know I have the tools. I know what I have to do every single day. So what is it that is holding me back from getting to where I want to go? And typically it's either fear, or maybe the amount of effort you're putting in, maybe consistency, maybe it's time. Maybe you really are giving this your all and you just have to keep going. But what I found was that it's mindset for people. So when I do these calls, it's different than a lot of other calls. It's not about how to hit Success Club or anything like that, because I honestly 100% believe that if you are able to master your mindset, that is when you're going to start to feel completely unstoppable. When I looked at the successful coaches in this business when I was a newer coach, I was like, what do they have that I don't? And it was just this mindset of blinders on. They have their vision and their goal in front of them, and they're moving forward towards it. And I'm a dog mom, so I talk about squirrels all the time. They're not letting all these squirrels distract them of the what ifs. And what if this happens? And what if this person says this? And I'm not really sure. Guys, don't worry about any of that and focus on your efforts. If you put your head down and get to work for the next 90 days, and I always clump my business into what I call seasons, 90 days. If you focus for 90 days, you're going to start to see that compound effect come into play, and you will start to see results in your business. But maybe your current mindset or your current plan isn't working. This is kind of the call that fires people up in terms of doing something different. And as a grown adult, we typically just wake up in the morning and our brain just does whatever, right? You wake up and you're like, oh, snooze button. Oh, I don't really want to get up today. Oh man, it's raining. Oh, my dog threw up on the carpet. Oh, I'm only at Success Club 2. I have to bring the kids to school, and then I have to get to work, and then I have to, you haven't even got out of bed yet, and our brain is just completely going to the negative. And so I have learned through lots of personal development, because again, when I was a new coach, we didn't really have the trainings. All I knew how to do was my workout, drink my shake, read my personal development, and talk to people on social media. That's all I did. So I've done so much personal development, and what I found was it's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is the way that they think. So maybe you're inspired by someone. Maybe I'm always inspired by Carl Deichler, because guys, when that guy wakes up in the morning, can you imagine the amount of pressure that is on his chest to get up and attack the day? He doesn't have the option and the ability to sit there and dwell on the negative things. He literally has to push forward and focus on what he can control. So if you're kind of wondering the underlying, the big message of what does a successful person do, they practice good thinking. So when you guys wake up tomorrow, I want you to be self-aware of, and this is the key word, allow. What are the thoughts that you're allowing into your mind? And you'll be blown away, because I had to do this exercise too 2 years ago when I started this journey to being a positive thinker. Because what happens, guys, when you have a really hard day in your life and business? What do? You complain, or you're just down and you feel helpless and you're angry about it. But imagine if you had the ability to, within seconds, flip that around. I bet you guys know someone that you're like, how do they do that? Just like doing your workout every single day, you got to train that brain, train that brain, train that brain. And it starts with you. I had to take full-on responsibility for everything that fell into my lap. So this is usually when I share a little bit about my personal life and story of some big challenges, because people still kind of try to figure out how I can validate that all this works. And so October 2014, my husband was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He's 24 years old. Yes, I'm kind of a cougar. He's a baby. And so when we found this news out, typically I would have crumbled, like anyone would. And I share this with you guys because it's raw, it's real, it's life. And that's how beautiful this community is, because you're going to meet people who struggle every single day, and you're going to be inspired by the people, like I was, who overcome it. So all I knew was, okay, I'm freaking out. This is really scary. What am I going to do? I had to focus on what I could control. Most people would say, Lindsay, I have to take time away from my business. I have to go focus on this. But what I found was, if I did that, I would have probably crumbled, because if I didn't do my workout, how would I feel? Crappy. If I didn't plug into my challenge groups, I would not feel that human connection that we all feel or that we all crave. If I stepped away from my team and leading this amazing group of people, even if it's 5 people who show up every day, if I stepped away from that, I would have lost everything I worked so hard for. So I was like, okay, this is the universe putting a challenge right in my lap, and they're saying, girl, what are you going to do with it? And so I had to stand up tall every single day and train my brain to focus on what I could control and be grateful. So what I did was, okay, we have healthcare. Thank goodness for healthcare. I have the ability to be home and focus on my business. I'm so grateful for that. We have the ability to do personal development together every single day. I'm grateful for that. So I can literally list things and things and things when life gets crazy, even when cancer's involved, where every single day we were able to move forward rather than feeling like I was going backwards. So as a business owner, and I'm literally speaking to all of you, including myself, I eat all my own medicine, as CEOs of your own business. And so when life gets hard and crazy, what do you do? How long do you stay down? Are you going to get down about something? Are you going to get pissed about it? Absolutely. But I always say, let that fuel your fire. So I got really, I don't want to say angry about cancer, but it just was, I was able to shift my perspective and I dove in even more. And because of that, I doubled my income. I finally hit 5-star. I changed a lot of lives because I completely opened up the doors to my life and I shared on social media. For me, it is so soothing when things are hard to share it with other people on social media. Why? Because guess what kind of vibes I get back when I put that out there? So if you guys are struggling in anything in life and business, put it out there. But you don't want to be complaining about it. You want to be solution oriented. XYZ happened. This is how I feel. This is what's going on. But guess what I am doing about it? That's going to inspire people. And that's what I did. So I connected with hundreds of people who were like, girl, I thought that my day was rough. And I see you over here talking about cancer and what your family's going through. And it drove me to do my workout today. And I'm like, that's what this is all about. So I thought life's tests were over. Nope. A year later, this was just 4 months ago. It's December. It's the holidays. I'm trying to hit 5-star elite. It's the hardest month of the year where I feel like I'm pulling teeth to get my team to do anything. And I just feel kind of exhausted, right? And I'm totally a Scrooge. I'm not a holiday person because I love sun. So I live in the mountains where it's snowy. I used to love the snow, but so it was a really difficult time. And then we get another diagnosis that it had spread to his lungs. And at this point, my personal development and my mindset was so strong that it was almost like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like a laughing matter, like universe, like really? It's Christmas, like crazy. We had to pack up our belongings and move 4 hours away. We were able to live with his family where his treatments were. And I went into chemo with him every day, just about. He had 9 weeks of chemotherapy treatment. And it was such an amazing blessing to be there side by side with him. But I focused every single day on giving. I want to say that again. I focused every single day on giving because I went to Tony Robbins and he talks all the time about the secret to living is giving. Stop playing the me song and get out there and give. And it was like this huge, like double slap across my face because I'm like, dang, that's what this job is about. It's about giving. I took on this role as a coach for myself initially, but 3 years into the business, this is about everyone else. I am paying this forward daily and daily, but you guys have to have a mindset so strong that you don't look to others for validation. That's one thing people always ask me. So why should I master my mindset? Like, why should I really give 2 hoots about what you're saying? Because people without a strong mind are looking to others for validation. I'm sure that a lot of you can agree with that. I was definitely there once in my life. But could you imagine waking up every day, being able to say and think and do what you want? Do you know how freaking freeing that is to be able to be you and not ask for permission and not wonder if this post is going to offend someone or not wonder if this post is going to come off wrong or am I selling to people? Like, just be you, and guess what will happen? You're going to find your tribe. I always tell my coaches to push the envelope and be you authentically, fully on social media, because the people that you don't connect with, or whether or not they hate on you or whatever, you are weeding through all the people that you're not going to connect with so that you find your tribe. So if you're still trying to find out where your team is, put yourself authentically out there. But you have to have a strong mind so that you don't need validation from anyone to be you. And I know a lot of people think that this is hocus pocus, and you know what? But guess what? Those are the people who stay the same in their life. And I was that person for so long. I had to be willing to change. I had to be willing to work on this every single day. So I know the book You Are a Badass is kind of old school, but that was the first book for me that kicked me in the butt, because she made me realize that all the money that we want is out there in the world. Every single thing that I want to accomplish has already been done. So you have to practice good thinking, and you have to believe that you can do that too. And how do you do that? People always ask. So it's not this rah-rah cheerleader every single day like, oh, Colleen, you can do it, you can do it. You have to empower yourself, which means every day you have to face fear and have the courage to take one step further. I love pushing the envelope. I'm like obviously a type A personality. So I love putting it all out there. I love going for the failed. We're going to talk about failure at the end of this too, but I love that because I get to success faster. Rather than spending 20 days thinking about doing something and dipping my toe in the water, I'm just hesitating and brewing fear when I do that. If you're looking for ways to face fear, you rip the Band-Aid off, or at least take a step in the right direction. The cool thing about fear is that it's all emotional. Fear is not something I can see. I mean, I guess an expression. You cannot touch it. It is all emotional. So it's basically also known as your mindset. So if you're one of those people who's always like, but I'm scared, I'm afraid to fail, the same exact things that 99% of coaches say, you need to master your mindset. And I'll share books with you guys that have helped too at the end. But when you understand that you're basically holding yourself back and you're placing all these self-limitations on yourself. Like Lindsay doesn't sign up a coach and say, okay, I'm going to place 2 handcuffs on you and you're just going to sit over here and be stuck forever. I know you said you want to change your life, but I'm not going to let you. Like, no one is putting these handcuffs on you or this yellow caution tape like don't succeed around you. It's up to you. And when I realized how a successful person thinks and I practice good thinking, I was like, dang, that's pretty powerful that I literally can just go try anything I want in this business. That's what's so special about being a coach, guys, is the only time you fail is when you quit. Like, if you never hit Success Club in your entire life, if you never have done anything in this business, does that make you a failure? No, you're still a coach. You can wake up tomorrow and on June 1st and on July 1st and make the decision to just do it. That is why I love this. Carl Deichler doesn't call Lindsay up and say, hey girl, you haven't hit Success Club in 12 months. I know she has. I'm just using her as an example. You know, you're a failure. I'm going to kick you out of this company. So the whole BS story of I'm afraid to fail doesn't work, guys. It's just like this little safety zone. And again, I'm sorry if this is kind of tough love, but it's true. When I got real with myself and I started talking to really successful people, I was like, oh my God, wow. Oh, my fire alarm is going off. Hold on. Is it okay?
Yeah, instant.
Oh, okay. This my house is on fire. No big deal. Now I forget what I was saying. Oh, surrounding myself with successful people, they called me out. They were like, so, kind of, you know, tell me what's going on. And I was, I hit diamond fast, and then I got stuck at 1 star like forever and ever and ever in a day. And I realized that I just honestly wasn't taking responsibility and focusing on my actions. So I'll recommend a book right now that if you feel like you are trying, I'll do these quotations, everything that you can to be successful and you want this so bad. You're that all-in coach. I hope that everyone here is. Read The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. There's no filter. He's going to tell you the truth. And I'll give you guys a little peek into what he talks about. So when a coach makes a post about their story, or when maybe they do an invite, that is what we would call 1x effort. You did it. High five. Awesome. But if you truly want to see success in life and business, our expectations are really swayed. You need to do 10x. And that was kind of a wake-up call for me. I was like, all right, I did my PD. I did my workout. I did it. But you really have to put in 10x the effort to see the results you want. Why I love this business when I paired up with that book is because I worked really hard for the first 2.5 years, like really, really, really hard. Now I work about 15 to 20 hours a week, and I do what I should, but it's kind of, a roller coaster in this business. You focus really hard for a few weeks, a few months, a few seasons, and then it's kind of like an airplane, right? It has to gain a lot of speed to take off, and then it gets up in the air, and what does it do? It kind of slows down and coasts for a little bit, and then it speeds up again. So it's not, people are always like, aren't I going to burn out? How am I going to do 10x all the time? Residual income in this type of business will give you the freedom to go do the things that you want and kind of take a break. So self-limitation, fear is emotional. Okay, so I talked a little bit about failure, but Mindy Wender taught me to replace the word failure with the word stumble. And I love this because I hear the word, whenever I do my new coach calls, or whenever they fill out my new coach questionnaire, they're always like, I'm afraid to fail, or I have fear of XYZ. And so let's replace the word failure with the word stumble, so that when you say out loud, stumbling is my biggest fear, it doesn't really make sense, right? It's basically like saying, I'm not willing to try, get a little messy, scrape my knees up a few times, because I'm just not willing to do that. So if you are that person who always says that they're fearful, and it's your biggest fear ever to fail, guess what? You can't. You're just going to stumble a little bit, and that's it. Shay Stanford once said to me that if you haven't gone through the awkward teenage puberty stage of being a coach yet, you're not there yet. Until you get on a call and feel like you're going to vomit on your keyboard, you're not there yet. Until you put a post up there that makes your armpits sweat, you're not there yet. You have to go through those awkward stages. And so if you're wondering how people accomplish amazing things in this business, whatever inspires you, maybe it's the Millionaires Club, maybe it's Success Club 10 legend, maybe it's the Beachbody Challenge winner, whatever inspires you guys, know that those people every single day, all they did was face their fears, and they had the courage to do it. I shared a video a few weeks ago, probably more like a month ago now, about feeling stuck. And this business is so unique because a typical job, what do? You show up, you have a to-do list, and you come home and you get paid every week, every other week. This business, you can show up 100 hours a week and sometimes make $5 So you're like, am I doing something wrong here? You have to be putting in 10 times the effort, and you have to have a long-term vision. I made $5,000 my first 6 months coaching. You guys have to remember, I came from a corporate career. I had part-time jobs that were just completely sucking my soul dry, but like for me, I knew that $5,000 in the first few months was like, Then my second year, I made $40,000. That was life-changing for me. But I went all in from the beginning. I didn't have the idea that I was going to fail at anything, because I know that if I keep going every single day, I will get there. It's not that you're stuck. It's just that you have to be comfortable with the uncertainty of the roller coaster. Entrepreneurship is crazy, really crazy. So I want to share some personal development favorites with you guys that have really helped me just go wow when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I listened to a podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire, and I listened to it when I kind of need a kick, because it's short and it has a lot of energy, and John Lee Dumas is the guy who does it. And I love it because he doesn't bring entrepreneurs on to talk about their successes. He brings entrepreneurs on to talk about their greatest entrepreneurial failure moment, or as we'll say, stumble moment. And when I heard what these people had to go through, like they invested $1 million in a business, or they lost their house, or, like some really crazy, scary things that can happen, I'm like, and we're afraid to share a picture and to share our story on social media? Like, wow, our minds are just not on the right tracks in terms of how big are you going and are you owning your business as a legit, you know how they always say, treat your business like a business. This is a business. You have to be in control of it. So I love that podcast because it helped me realize I was just not failing hard enough. And that's why I always push the envelope now. Another book is No Excuses by Brian Tracy. I know I said The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I heard it's great on audio. I'm not an audio book person, only because I take notes. And I don't know if you guys do this or how many of you work full time, but if you guys are at work doing PD, even when I actually did it the other day, I was listening to something, I was taking in like 20% of what they were saying. If you're working and listening to PD, you're like not giving your PD your all. So maybe you're driving and listening, but you can't take notes. You can't really reflect on that. So just kind of side note for you guys, I'm not saying it's bad, but I literally sit down and treat my PD as if like I'm sitting down at my desk for the day. Another book that I absolutely love is Life's Golden Ticket by Brendon Burchard. And I love this book because I did so much PD my first year and a half that I got kind of bored with listening to John C. Maxwell talk about the laws of this. And I was like, I feel like it's all starting to mash. So I started to read storybooks. So the author basically puts everything into a story format. So it feels like I'm just reading a fun book, but it has so many amazing lessons in it. If you guys don't know Brendon Burchard, he's basically like a Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like loud, he's out there, and he wrote this beautiful book, and it's actually based on a carnival. So it's really cool, fun, and it taught me that like everything that we've learned can be relearned. Like you have to rewire your brain as a new business owner, as a business owner that's always changing with the business in this world. I mean, from 3 years ago, the business has changed so much. So you have to be willing to get out of that tunnel vision that you have and all these beliefs and all these walls you built up. And that book really taught me that, wow, my perspective kind of was going over here and it should be going over here. I wanted to go back and like change all my life decisions. And then the very, very last one, I said them all. Oh no, The Magic of Thinking Big. If you're looking for a way and trying to understand this whole thing about thinking, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz is an amazing book. You cannot be a small thinker, guys. You have to be a really big thinker. So when people tell me what their why is or what their goals are, they'll be like, I want to get my Shakeology paid for. That's in terms of minimums, right? That's kind of like what a hobby coach would do, which is great. I'm not discounting that, but why not go for, I'd love to make $500 a month, because guess what? If you shoot for $500 a month, you're guaranteed to hit that $120 a month that you need for your Shakeology. But if I set the goal at the $120 a month, then you might kind of miss that goal, and then you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, coaching is cool. So take it the step up a little bit. Someone that's awesome. I must be entertaining them.
Everyone looks muted. I was just looking to see what that was, but sorry.
It's okay. No worries. So, okay, my closing piece of rant for you guys, I guess. Basically, this whole thing's a rant for me because I get pumped up. But people don't take their personal development journey serious enough. And here's the deal. Think about every successful person in your life. If you had to kind of come up with a word or phrase that would be the reason that they are successful, I can almost guarantee it that it's because of their personal growth journey. So becoming a coach is a beautiful thing because guess what? Every aspect of your life is going to change. So if you take your personal growth journey, guess what's going to happen? Your business is going to boom. So don't wait to invest in your business when you make $1,000 a week or when you make $500 or whatever whatever you think you need to invest in yourself and your business. Don't wait. Why? Because you are your business. And until you are growing, your business is never going to grow. Get to Tony Robbins. I don't care. Spend the $600, put it on your credit card. I don't care what Dave Ramsey says. Just freaking do it. PD is cool. All the webinars and the team calls are great, guys, but there is nothing like an experience in person. Why do you guys think we go so big with Summit? Because that in-person experience will change your life. It will leave an impact on your soul, heart, all that. And so I think Tony Robbins kind of encompasses everything. Like maybe you like Chalene Johnson, maybe you like Danny Johnson. I just realized they both have the same last name. Maybe there's another person that you're inspired by. Tony Robbins encompasses all of that. And most importantly, he taught me how to muster up the energy to be like this all the time. So if you're like, where the heck does she get her energy from? I have learned from Tony Robbins how to do that. You go to this event for 4 days. You have 14